And I believe that you're lying.
And do you agree with him? Do you all agree with him?
Yeah.
So CO2 is not
CO2. Do you guys think IPCC is a good thing?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not going to speak in public.
Global climate.
Why aren't you think more people are coming out like you and trying to gauge us?
I don't know. I don't control them. They don't control me.
You look pretty. Outlook on us.
Well, that's up to you to judge. I don't know. Maybe I have a very negative outlook on you.
Maybe.
But excuse me. Then it would be a bad thing for me to be out here. Eh?
Will we have a vote here about the climate change hoax?
I think so.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay.
Climate change is a hoax.
Everybody who believes that the climate change thing is a hoax.
No doubt about it.
What climate change?
It's a hoax. It's a hoax.
Not climate change.
Well, then we democratically agree that climate change is a hoax.
Thank you.
Global warming. Global warming is a hoax.
Okay.
But you would certainly be somewhat informed about the 9/11 situation, how it was carried out, and who is behind the 9/11.
I wasn't informed about that.
You're not informed?
Well, I'm just as informed as you are, I think.
If he were, he would not be standing out here.
Because it is very evident now by all the scientific analysis of the 9/11 that the 9/11 was actually engineered by a very small power group of elite people.
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah, who had actually put explosive on all floors in the building.
I saw the documentary
right.
about that.
And what's your opinion about it?
I think it went I went different. I think it was not the truth.
What about Building 7? It wasn't hit by any plane?
It fell down several hours.
I don't think it was hit by a plane, wasn't it?
No, not at all.
It fell down in 6 seconds?
But since you are this uninformed about it, how can you then?
I'm not uninformed.
How can you then
informed
pretend
about it? But I have a different opinion than you have.
Sir,
it's possible.
Obviously,
it's possible.
What's your opinion about Building 7?
I think there was 2 buildings that were taken down by 2 planes.
3.
And the other buildings were taken down by the.
So you are a sheeple. You are definitely.
Honestly, you can't tell me you believe that.
Yeah, I know. Fire. But create that.
Fire. Can you say it with a straight face? Come on.
I'm an engineer.
Yeah. And all impossible.
Not all
You can't
engineers
even say it with a straight face, man. Do you have any evidence of the so-claimed hijackers boarding the planes, going into the cockpits and flying the planes? You don't have that evidence.
Do you have the evidence of the opposite?
You can't fly planes that way. You can't fly planes that way, pilots say. You can't fly Boeings that way.
Yeah, well, you can.
You cannot bring the pilot who can do it. Bring the pilot who can do that.
And you can speak in the speaker, please.
Let's keep it cozy amongst each
You
other.
don't have to prove. You don't have any kind of proof of the crimes that people accused of.
You don't have to prove it.
You,
It's difficult.
of course, of course, impossible.
Come on.
Let's do 2 questions. Come here.
Come on.
Dear people,
take the challenge.
dear friends,
Show us.
Take the challenge.
We don't fight, we don't do anything. Please, we're with you.
Now we're talking.
But is it appropriate to come at 15 o'clock when Niels Harrit knew for, I don't know, 14 days that Niels Harrit would come at 15 o'clock? And then when he's starting to speak,
I have 1 hour to spare. I come here, but I don't like to shout at you. So I don't
like to but I couldn't get your attention from over here.
Okay, now I only have one question. I want to ask you that. This is just one question.
Yeah, why speak when Niels Harrit was scheduled to speak? You pull all the questions. No, I'm speaking, and I'm asking, please.
I have to agree on who's speaking first.
Yeah, why did you come? When Niels Harrit was scheduled to speak
Actually,
and
I
put all
came
the
here
press away.
because I got a message from a journalist that I spoke yesterday.
Give him some space.
And he asked me to come again.
He got arrested today. He got arrested today.
Did he? Yeah. Oh, that's a problem.
It's good, and I spoke to you yesterday
Maybe
also.
did something wrong?
No,
No, that's the only reason. I have 1 hour, and I already took 45 minutes now, so only a
Mr.
few minutes
Samsom,
left.
what do you think about
I want to answer questions. I want to speak to. I don't want to shout at people. So
It's not a shout question.
what do you think about the
You arrived here by plane, right?
yes.
Yes. It's lucky that the plane motor or the jet engine didn't melt by the jet fuel, right? Yeah, it didn't. Because it took more than an hour to get here by plane. Yeah, and 1 hour, World Trade Center, the beams melted by jet fuel.
He's already stated his opinion on this. Can we ask? Let me focus on Bilderberg.
You don't burn the kerosene in a jet engine like you do in. What about the I mean, it's totally different.
Yeah, but it wasn't fuel combustion.
I have to admit, I'm a politician, so.
You just said you were a scientist. I'm sorry to remind you.
So I don't know everything. Like you.
What's your
Mr.
name?
Samsom.
Samsom.
What do you think about the heavy presence of police?
A long time already, didn't you? I didn't. If there's somebody else wants to go out,
You want to keep talking about 9/11 then?
does privacy exist? No. It should. But if you define privacy as the right to be left alone, which is sort of a definition of privacy, at the moment none of us have it. Do we? No. But it's difficult to preserve it in a world where everybody watches each other. You watch me at the moment, the government watch other things and other people, and governments watch each other.
Yeah, but we're not watching you every time you're online.
But no, the problem is privacy. It's something that is precious and we should preserve it. But at the same time, we all use technology that is intrusive.
We don't listen on
We
don't listen to your phone calls. We don't read your emails. We don't listen to your phone calls. We don't touch you at the airport.
I don't do that either.
No, but it's generally as part of a system that does it, right?
Yeah, I represent a system that does it.
Yes. How do you feel about
And you're
that?
part of a system that does it.
Unfortunately,
We don't want to be part
I have
of
no
it anymore.
choice. Okay?
I think it's a difficult discussion. If you, I mean, we need information about criminals, terrorists, or don't you think you need that?
You need to have direct suspicion.
Yeah, that's not what I've heard.
Well, it's
Through invading people's privacy,
You can't have dragnet
through breaking the
surveillance.
constitutional laws that people have.
no, you shouldn't break the law. As soon as
now have-
somebody
But you
breaks
are
the law,
every day, all the time.
They have dragnet drone
it's difficult
surveillance.
because we made laws.
It's
and
not difficult.
Maybe you have to blame me
It's
because
on plain paper.
I'm
If
standing
you
in
can
front of
read,
you.
you know it's
You have to
against
blame
the law.
me because I made laws. I'm responsible for laws that allow the secret agencies to look into stuff that you don't like. That's true. So you have to talk to me, not the secret agents. They
They just do their job just like the Nazis.
I'm with a lot because every government does this.
Yeah, we're just doing our job, but that's no excuse for responsibility.
Hold on. If a policeman here just
But he's still responsible for
he's
his
doing.
action, no matter what.
To the privacy
Just
debate.
watching them, I think they're doing a good job.
I think it's going to escalate where every citizen is going to have.
Is civil disobedience, is that a crime?
No.
No?
No.
But the thing is, when people lay out
I did it for 9 years in Greenpeace. Civil disobedience is part of democracy.
And what made you stop?
But you have to have a few conditions. The two most important. One is non-violent. Always non-violent. If you do civil disobedience, don't use anything. And take responsibility for your action. If you do something that is not allowed, you get arrested, pay the fine, or whatever. That's the conditions.
That's up to the policeman. It's up to the policeman to interpret.
Well, it's in the end up to the judge, not the police.
The bigger issue is
You end up paying a fine decided by
that's what we want to discuss
the
with you.
district attorney.
We don't want to discuss. The bigger question is, who's behind 9/11? Who is really behind the Bilderberg? What is the agenda? That is what we really
Yeah, a man in the cave with a laptop in Afghanistan.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, you can.
Why can't you people just
But
leave us the hell alone?
why start you by laughing?
Because you mentioned Osama bin Laden. Osama
And
bin Laden is
I
an
still want to
Oswald.
answer your question.
He's a patsy.
Exactly.
Who created Osama
Okay.
bin Laden?
And I still want
The
to answer.
FBI and the CIA created
government.
Osama bin Laden to infect the Afghani militant Islamism in order to create problems for Russia. So Russia would then be forced to invade Afghanistan, and then you'd have a new situation. Just like when the CIA deposed and murdered Mossadi in Iraq. Why can't you just leave us alone? Why are we so damned important to you? Why are we so damned important?
But you mean now, literally, so that I should walk away now?
Why can't we have access to what's going on?
Yeah.
We would like to take a look inside this hotel.
Is accessible to everybody. If I want to go into that building on the 7th floor, I can't go in.
Make this conference public.
I come out.
You're the only one that I've ever seen.
Not important. I don't ask anybody else something to do because they don't ask me. They don't ask me.
What's on the 7th floor? Why can't you go on the 7th floor? Why can't you go on the 7th floor? Is it specific? Is it
Sorry, can I ask what you're going to tell the Dutch people you talk about with the other Bilderbergers? What are you discussing for Dutch?
What are they discussing on the 7th floor?
Well, loads of things. Ukraine, for instance. Yesterday, Europe. Yesterday, this morning, privacy. The way intelligence services gather information about all of us.
So you're going to tell the Dutch people what you decided about that? Yeah?
Well, we didn't decide anything. We discussed it.
What was the discussion?
Sometimes you need to discuss things before deciding. We only decide in Parliament.
Is it against the law in Holland? You asked for Rasmussen why the European
you smartly walk from that
side. They died in American war in Afghanistan, and now NATO help Al-Qaeda in Syria. No Al-Qaeda, but the group close to Al-Qaeda. May you ask him, please, how is this problem?
I will ask him.
Mr. Sam, you said you're not allowed on the 7th floor.
Can you please take them to your friends up there? Please take them to your friends up there. Please, it's very important.
You have to take it up there. I mean, it's not mine, it's yours. It's not mine, it's yours.
He can't even compose. Could you do that?
I don't think it will really help.
Do that for me?
But we're not allowed inside.
Floors for different subjects?
No, there's floors to sleep on and there's only one meeting room.
Did you say something about the 7th floor and you can't go there?
Oh no, it was that building.
Oh, the other building,
I was just pointing at a bank.
But is it against the law in Holland for a public elected person to meet in secrecy behind doors and...
Everybody does that every day.
Yeah, but it's like...
I do
yeah, but I'm not like in any...
Sometimes in a discussion like when you are discussing with somebody who's not a public person, he doesn't like to be confronted with a camera. And yet I want to know something. So I go to that person without a camera, out of the public, to know more about an issue. And then I come out and I'm responsible for everything I do myself.
But it's an obstacle
Could there be disclosure afterwards, after the meeting?
No,
there be written disclosure for the public?
I'm not sure whether you want it in any form or whatever, written or on camera or whatever.
But there is a, I mean, is that a possibility?
Every member here is responsible for his own actions. I'm for my actions, so I talk about what I do.
You're allowed to speak about what goes on in detail?
Yeah, I'm not. We agreed with each other, and that's part of the rule that I just explained. We agreed with each other that I wouldn't say anything about what another person said. I'm only responsible for what I say and what I heard.
Do you think your fellow colleagues in there?
An interesting way to put it.
Well, that's Chatham House rules, as they call it.
Country House.
No, Chatham House. No, it's called Chatham House.
But it is a problem, isn't it? I mean, it is a problem because
it's a dilemma. It's not a problem in itself, but it's less transparent than you would want to.
Exactly.
But I need it.
You
sometimes need it too.
But we are your boss. You working for us.
Well, then you should impose a law that prevents me from going in.
Yeah, but you're the one who makes the laws.
No. You are my boss, so you just told me.
Yeah,
so
but
you can tell me which law I have to make. But first of all, you have to find a majority to take it.
Exactly, but
that's the problem.
It is the arrogance also from you.
The problem with democracy is that you not always get what you want. Yeah, that's true.
Never.
I have a better question. Sorry, but war, what does it help us?
Nothing.
Nothing. But why do we keep spending
crime? What
money
does it
on
help it? It's still there.
But why do we keep spending money on it? Why? Why can't we use
Because we want to prevent war, and sometimes you need to be you have to have an army for that.
War is peace, or what are you saying?
The entire world. You have the control over the world.
No, I don't have. I would like to, but I don't have.
Group?
You would like to? I'm almost just. Well, wouldn't you like to?
No. But sir.
Oh yeah, you were the one that didn't like.
So can't you use it more in a better way? Like instead of military, start teaching people how to express themselves without violence. Do we actually need to kill people?
I had a long time in my former years that I believed that you were completely right.
Yeah.
And then Rwanda happened. And all our teaching and all what we did didn't help anything. There were 1 million people slaughtered in 2 months' time.
Yeah.
And I would love to be able to. I would have wanted that we could prevent that. And in order to prevent that, we needed to send people there with weapons to stop it.
You can stop it before it actually.
Yeah, you're right.
And I know how.
That's it.
I know how.
Thanks for that judgment.
What about thinking about psychology? Every person's need. What if you are starting to fulfill them about people who need water, people who need shelter?
Maybe sometimes we fail in that. Sometimes we fail. Every day we fail.
All the money we actually waste on military instead of actually putting it to the people who need it.
In a perfect world, I would completely agree with you, but the world isn't perfect.
Can't we make the world perfect?
Well, we try.
Yeah.
You try, I try.
So
you don't try that?
Yes, of course I do.
Well,
but you do it on the wrong way.
Well, you think so?
Yeah, you're making the world better for yourselves, but not for the majority.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see, I can tell from the world.
But you can tell from the 5 minutes that you've met me?
No, not you personally.
Well, okay.
I know, of course.
But who's then you?
The list of changing
who's then you in your
You're here this year because somehow they...
Oh, you mean Bilderberg?
Bilderberg, yeah.
There's all kinds of different people at Bilderberg.
Yeah, every year. You're here this year because they have somehow decided that you are helpful in the plan this time.
Well, I'm not really helpful.
I don't know.
You're making a few policemen a little nervous because you're coming closer into me. But I don't mind. I don't mind. But
we're very peaceful.
I just tell
we're
you.
Peaceful. The last thing we want to cause harm.
About aging,
yes.
Depopulation. I thought it sounded like eugenics. Can you explain again?
Well, it was just a discussion about the fact that, for instance, in Denmark and in the Netherlands, but also in loads of other Western, and also China and Japan, people get older every year. The life expectancy rises, which is a good thing because it has to do with health and welfare, etc. But it also poses some problems for society as a whole. And politicians are appointed, are elected to solve those problems. Pensions, the fact that we have a smaller workforce and more retired people, the fact that we have less children and more retired people. It's not a problem, but it's a challenge for society to adapt. And we need to adapt in order to face that challenge. That was the only discussion.
Through immigration?
Well, immigration would be a solution or part of a solution for that, but not everybody agrees.
European cultures and
so what are you suggesting?
I like a diverse society, yes. But I know there's people that don't like it. I'm not saying I don't like it.
Is it the government's job to take care of its citizens?
Sorry?
Is it the government's sole purpose to take care of its citizens?
It should be.
And how do we actually actualize that?
Well, by voting us away if we don't. So every 4 years you have the chance to say, well, you are not acting in the general interest, you go away.
Look at been successful so far.
Well, it's the best system we have.
Look at the choice we get to
but
choose
I haven't
from.
found a better system yet.
Well, maybe we can actually do it the human way. No, maybe we can actually say, okay, we all get in there at one point. I've heard about systems who have tried that.
You mean all together? Yeah, we already discussed direct democracy. Yeah. So we're going to stand on a parking lot and we just decided that climate change is a hoax.
Not like that.
That was basically decided
by
this group.
Global warming.
The climate has always changed.
It is not man-made.
You just try to make CO2 to a new
I will be more precise. Man-made global warming is a hoax.
Capitalist.
According to you. I don't agree with you.
Capitalist.
But I'm a very small minority here.
I do think the discourse changed from talking about global warming to climate change. That was a peculiar change in discourse. I'm quite sure that there's people like you and others who found out that your scam was perhaps not going so well with that.
Well, I'm starting to talk about some. Let's try to agree on something. I'm starting to talk about something else, a new energy future. I mean, even if man-made global climate change would be a hoax, oil and gas, we're running out. So we have to find new ways to produce our energy. Do you agree?
Yeah,
then we can start working, because that's actually the only way we can act on climate change.
Don't you think the best way is to open up the market, free markets competing against each other to make a profit from the best energy source that provides the most energy for the least
Sometimes it's a solution, but you have to be careful. But it's part of the solution. We saw it with Chinese solar panels. A market was opened up, between China and the rest of the world, and solar energy became a lot cheaper. So sometimes market mechanisms work.
If governments are working with companies and they're doing favors and doing backdoor deals with certain corporations and not others, then it closes off the market.
That was not what we were discussing.
But I'm asking, if that happens, right, that's not going to create progress, because it's going to stagnate the market, and it's not going to develop the price
But if a government does that, you are allowed to send that government away.
I hope so.
If it's a democratic government, and then we're back to democracy.
It's not democracy.
What about capitalism? Can we do something about it? Like, for example, make a limit on how much
we have to,
a single person can have.
I'm a social democrat. I sincerely believe that
you have to... Can you let me talk finish, please?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Well, what if we make a limit on capitalism and say, you can earn this much, and then say, okay, we have this pile of money, and we actually spend this money on the people who don't have it.
Yeah, good idea.
So we can make
spreading the wealth. Never go to the people.
Why should someone be more wealthy than others? Why should someone
some difference in income will be inevitable, I think, but they shouldn't become too big. You're right.
Why should someone have bigger right to live?
You need a government to, for instance, impose taxes on rich people so that we can give some money to poor people. I think you have to discuss with each other, because I don't think you agree with her.
But you agree with him.
Sorry about that.
Now that you have a past as an agent of environmentalism, what's your view on such thing as smart grid?
It's a nice way of doing demand-side management, meaning that we use less energy, we have a smarter energy.
But it's a centralized system that potentially can be Orwellian in its structure,
yes,
in its big data collection.
That's exactly one of the downsides, yes. But there's also some positives.
Of course, there's
now
no such thing as an absolute negative when you look at technology.
That's why you weigh the positives and the negatives. I think you can handle the privacy problems with it, but if you don't, we have a real problem.
So you don't believe in decentralized solutions when it comes to energy infrastructure?
But a smart grid is, in a sense, also a decentralized solution, but in a bigger system. And then you go with your argument about privacy. You're right. That's something we need to take care of.
A question about what you talked about in there. I mean, are there some of the real important questions? For example, the bees are dying. I mean, that is something that really matters. You talked a bit about privacy. I mean, I would imagine you talked about how we can decrease the privacy. I mean, that we still have some left. That, for example, we know it cures to cancer. I mean, the pharmaceutical.
Why do you think the bees are dying?
Because of environmental pollution, maybe radiation from mobile phones. I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
I was just good because you thought man-made global warming was a hoax, but on this side we are on the same side. I do think we have to be careful.
I believe that a lot of pollution and a lot of shit companies do. But I mean, these are the real issues. Also about privacy.
Some of the seed treatments and the GMOs.
Pharmaceutical industries, that don't really help us. Most of us know that by now. There are cures to cancer. There are cures to almost any disease. When is this coming out to the people?
Let me give you another dilemma. If you want to cure cancer, suppose that you can. You need big data. You need very big data.
You're going to water fast.
No, you need to know why cancer is existing and what kind of. You need a scientific database of enormous amount. And there you are again.
We have cured other things.
But we haven't cured cancer.
Well, people have cured themselves of cancer with cannabis.
That could be one of the solutions, but not for everybody.
I know a lot of people.
But you cannot cure all cancer with cannabis. No,
Rick Simpson, Thomas Young even.
I'm sorry about that.
What specifically are you bringing to Bilderberg this year?
Sorry?
What specifically are you bringing to Bilderberg this year?
Myself.
But why?
Nothing more than that.
Not a different politician.
I think what they always do, it's Europe and the US, and it's the Bilderberg sort of tradition. And from every European country, they ask somebody from scientists. They ask us. There's a Dutch scientist in there. There's some Dutch business people. There's some Dutch politicians, and that's for all countries. Right. So basically, you try to have a mix. And it's sort of randomly selected. I'm not important, so
do they need
I'm randomly selected.
Or a nuclear engineer?
I'm a politician. and just by accident, I'm also a nuclear engineer.
How did you become invited?
I was trained as a nuclear engineer.
If it's so random, why have I never been invited?
What is your view, especially as an environmentally interested scientist, what is your view on fluoride? That we have fluoride all around us in our toothpaste, in our water, that was actually used by Nazi Germany on an experimental basis to make people docile. Why do we have that in our toothpaste, and why is that so spread around the world?
Drinking water,
in different food products and different products that we ingest. Isn't that a problem from an environmental point of view?
Fluoride has also some positive effects.
Not sodium fluoride. No.
Hold on, please. Some positive effect on your teeth.
Yes.
So basically,
natrium fluoride, not sodium fluoride. Big difference.
And that's where if you think you should regulate it out of our food, there's loads of stuff that is regulated out of our food. Fluoride could be one of them. If you vote on it in the Netherlands or in Europe, we regulate it out of our food.
Isn't that an issue that the democratic process didn't
Sometimes it works the other way around. Sometimes you vote to get something out of it.
Isn't that the complete opposite of democracy when something's imposed on you and then you have to fight to get it out? Shouldn't we have had a say whether it's fluoride or water?
I don't think you have a problem with fighting for something, don't you?
Yeah, but I'm losing.
I lose every day. So you win some too.
Don't you use fluoride toothpaste yourself?
Yes,
to vote something
I do.
I have to ask you something.
And then I'm going away. I'm granting this
sodium
lady
fluoride is synthetic, extremely toxic. Toxic.
I know.
And the natural fluoride is called calcium fluoride. Why is that? Why are you not using that one? It's not dangerous for us.
I'm using Prodent. I'm not sure what kind of fluoride it is.
It's sodium. Sodium, you can read it on the
They are
back.
putting
Can we hear your name again?
Prozac.
You know more about that than I do.
Prozac.
Samsom. Hi.
SSRIs are filled with sodium fluoride because it makes you docile.
I hear him think, who the hell?
Did you hear what I said?
That's correct. There's loads of people in there that you think, who the hell?
Antidepressants are filled with fluoride.
Samsom is my last name. Diederik is my first name. I'm from the Netherlands.
From the Netherlands?
Yes. And you think, who the hell is he? Well, there's about 130 people in there, and you know a few of them. But most of them are just like me.
Actually, I don't really care, but I just wanted you to make sure that you answered this lady's question because they were actually...
I don't have the answer.
Why is antidepressant filled with fluoride?
I don't have the answer. I don't know.
I have.
I'm sorry.
It makes you docile.
Okay.
And that's why it is...
I will get into that. I will promise I will get into that. I learn every day, yeah?
Last question.
Last question.
Okay. As a former Greenpeace activist,
yes.
Why are you part of this?
Because I joined politics, because I think democracy is a way to change things, and we don't agree on that, everybody here, some of you do. And part of democracy, part of being a politician is that I try to become better every day. And therefore you sometimes go into a hotel room with scientists and business people, and sometimes you stand on a parking lot with loads of people around you with a camera. And both events make me a little better. See you. Goodbye, guys. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you for coming.
Well, it was a nice event. Thank you.
It would be nice to see more of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.